Everybody. Hi, Jim. All right, so we'll start with Supta Baddha Konasana. Supine bound angle pose. So the basic idea, if you have a bolster, you put like so, with something for under the head. A belt is nice if you have one. And to start the class, it's not a bad idea to have a little height to go under your thighs or knees, just to make it a little less intense for the very beginning of the class. So if you're using a belt, put it low and back, around the feet in front. And then you just hold the strap so that it'll hold your feet and legs in place passively. Like I said, then I use a little height under my thighs. And then just lie back and just be at ease. Just kind of settle in here a bit. Find a nice, comfortable, quiet breath in and out the nose. But as always, you want to breathe through the mouth when you need to. Then just return to nasal breathing when that's available to you. All right, so then let's go ahead and ease our way up from here. Lead your way up with your sternum if you can. And then we'll stay relatively similar in this position, but we'll go to Setu-Bandha Sarvangasana, a bridge pose over the bolster. So blanket on the floor for the pillow. I'll sit on the bolster like so. And then lie back. You can probably get a better view of this from the side angle, but then you kind of drag off until your shoulders will just hit the floor, that little bit of support under your head. And then I like to have my legs extended out and kind of falling out to the sides. But if this is not comfortable in your low back, it's fine to bring your feet in and bend your knees, and you can bring your knees together or like so. Either way, just allow gravity then to just kind of pull you down into the floor. So there's a kind of, in a way, a break point, where the edge of the bolster hits your back. It's kind of, mid-sternum in front. And then, so you're getting this is like a soft and easy way to move into back bends, because we're kind of the first pose, kind of got the low back to beginning of the mid back. This is more right into the mid back, where we're just trying to passively, comfortably start to open up the back for preparation for the back bends. And again, just settle in, take some breaths, and just move into a place where you can breathe easily and comfortably in and out the nose. All right, and then we'll ease our way out of this. You can either slide off or roll off the bolster, or you can lift up and kind of push the bolster out of the way. Rest your sacrum, your buttocks down onto the floor. Take a few breaths here just to kind of recollect yourself. And then we'll come up, and I want to go back now to a different version of that same pose, only now with a block. And I'm going to change my position a little bit to the side view. So for this, you'll use a block or a book, and you're going to lie over it such that when you're lying down, the block will be positioned about like this. So this big knobby vertebra right here is the seventh cervical vertebrae. So you want it to be just under that spot when you lie down. So it's going to look like this when we lie down. You can have something under your head for comfort, or not. I'm going to take it away because I prefer not to have it there for now. So you'll lie down over your block and position it so that it's just south of that seventh cervical vertebra. And then extend the legs. And we allow as Mr. Iyengar used to always say, the prop is your guru. So you let the prop tell you how to move your body. So lying over the block, initially, most of us feel a little bit of a digging in of the part of the block that's closest to your waist. So to get an evenness of the back on the block, you have to lift really at the lower sternum. So you kind of lift up in the lower sternum, you take your shoulders down, and that allows you to rest down evenly on the block. So see what you can do with that. I need to adjust my position here a little bit because I'm running out of space. And then again, let gravity take you down and just move into a nice, comfortable, quiet breath. And then come up from there. If you can, lead with your sternum. And then we'll go to the second position where you take the block and put it to the second height position. Most people will have to bring the block in towards them a little bit, maybe half an inch or so, to be able to then get down into the same position, like so. So now this version puts your neck in a much deeper extension. So for people who have neck issues, just put something under your head to get a little support under your head. So you could put a folded blanket or something just to keep from stressing your neck, like so. This, of course, is much less comfortable than the first version. So your guru is teaching you more insistent demands here. You really have to lift that part of your back that's closest to your waist, that mid back, up to take some of the stress off of that block digging in to your mid back. Okay, well, that's good. Then come up from there. And we'll stay with our use of the block, but now we'll go back to Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, or bridge pose, this time with the block. So this is how this one looks. We start with kind of sitting up and checking that your feet are aligned with each other. That, one foot isn't further front of the other. And then we lie back. And then we're going to take the block in the highest position, if you can, and put it directly under your sacrum. So it's not on your low back. It's south of your pelvic rim. But you want to, again, locate that position such that your sacrum is evenly, left and right, front and, top and bottom, evenly pressing down on the block. Once you're there, then you can interlace your fingers and press your wrists down, and that really helps you externally rotate the shoulders and upper arms. So this is bridge pose supported with the block, Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. And again, go into a nice, quiet, even breath. If you're like me and you have some bit of imbalance or asymmetry in your sacrum, this really reveals it. And so I have a little scoliosis toward the right, in my lumbar spine, and that causes a distortion with my sacrum. So when I do this, the block kind of demands symmetry, and then I can tell where I'm kind of out of whack. And so it's instructive to use a prop like this to kind of identify where you're a little out of whack, a little out of symmetry, and then try to allow gravity and the prop to kind of pull you into symmetry, even though it may feel symmetrical. We're going to stay here for just a bit longer, if you can tolerate it. All right, so then we'll come out, you just lift up, take the block away, and set your sacrum buttocks down onto the floor, and just release. And then roll to your side and push up to a seated posture. All right, so we'll go into a sequence of back bends. And if you're on a hard surface like I am, you might want a blanket under you. That blanket may get in the way at times, so you'll have to make some adjustments. So we'll start with Cobra pose, Bhujangasana. So you'll need a little space for your hands to be on something not the blanket. So like so. So here my blanket is under my front pelvic bones. And let's start with having our forearms on the floor. Like so. And the idea here then is we're going to extend the legs and feet back, and we kind of pull on our hands and arms to extend the chest forward, and then press the palms down and lift up, looking just straight forward. Now, if you have neck issues, feel free to just look down. That'll take the stress off the neck, but you can still get the back bend. Press your palms down evenly. That usually requires a little extra emphasis on the base knuckle of the index finger and the base of the thumb. And then release. Take a couple breaths, and we'll do again. Okay, second time, same pose, same version with the forearms on the floor. Palms evenly pressing down, extend the legs and feet back, lengthen the chest forward, press down with the palms and wrists, and lift the torso up. Breathe here. And release. Again, take a little rest. Okay, now you can repeat that same version, or we'll go into the fuller version of Bhujangasana, Cobra So you have the hands on the floor, but your elbows are up and in at the sides. The rest is the same. We extend the feet and legs back. We extend the chest forward. And then with an inhale, kind of dragging your chest forward, lift the torso up. If you can, you go all the way to straight elbows and then externally rotate your upper arms and look up. Again, if you have neck issues, just look forward or even down. Breathe here. And release. Take a couple breaths again to release. We'll do once again. Okay, same pose, whichever version you like. Cobra, Bhujangasana. Palms evenly on the floor, elbows in. Lengthen the feet and legs back. Lengthen the chest forward. With an inhale, extend forward and up. And release. Again, take a few breaths, resting. All right, and so now we'll move to bow pose, Dhanurasana. We'll do it one leg at a time. So we're going to reach back with the right hand and catch the right foot or ankle or shin. The left hand can stay up front, or you can put it really wherever is comfortable for you for support. But we're going to then extend, reach with the knee back, and then lift the right leg up. We want to keep the right front pelvic bone down. So don't roll that right front pelvic bone up. Keep the right hip, right front pelvic bone down, but lift the knee and thigh as high as you can, while still reaching the knee back toward the wall behind you. And release. We'll switch. Right hand is just in a support position. You reach back with the left hand, catch the left foot, ankle, or shin, reach that left knee back, and lift it up. Again, while keeping the left front pelvic bone on the floor. So don't roll that left hip up, don't roll that left front pelvic bone up, keep those down, but lift the knee, lift the thigh, and reach that knee toward the wall behind you. And release. Just take a few breaths. So now we'll go to the full pose, full Dhanurasana, bow pose. But if you're more comfortable continuing to work with that one leg at a time, that's fine. We'll do this twice so you can go to one side and then the other. But if you're going to do the full pose, you reach back and catch both feet, ankles, or shins. Keep the knees in, aligned with the hips. Extend the knees back, lengthen the torso forward, and then with an inhale, lift everything up. And keep breathing. Keep reaching toward that back wall with your knees. So there's an extension as well as a lift. And release. Take a few breaths. We'll do again. And again, then you catch your feet, ankles, or shins, reach the knees back, lift up. Bow pose, like a bow and arrow kind of bow. Drawn tautly. Dhanurasana. And release. And again, rest. All right, so now we'll move to locust or shalabhasana. I'm going to open my blanket up a little bit more now because I won't have the problem of having a surface on which to um, plant my hands. So this is really just for comfort. So again, we stand out on the floor prone. And again, we'll work through one leg at a time and then move through to the full pose. So I like having my hands back at my hips, thighs for leverage, but you can have them really wherever you like. If you prefer to have them up in front where you can rest your head, that's also fine. So however you like to do that. We're going to extend both legs straight and then keeping both front pelvic bones on the floor, we're going to lift just the right leg, keeping both legs straight. So lift that right leg as high as you can without lifting the right front pelvic bone from the floor. Internal rotation on that right thigh. And release. And then the left leg lifts, keeping both legs straight, keeping that left front pelvic bone on the floor. Internal rotation on that left thigh. And release. Take a few breaths. So now we'll lift both legs at once. If you prefer to continue to work with just one leg at a time, that's fine because we'll do this twice. But if you're up for it, we'll go ahead and for this, I think you'll probably want your hands back at your thighs because you'll want that leverage. In any case, we're going to just keep the chest on the floor, but lift both legs. Don't hold your breath. Keep the internal rotation on the thighs. And release. We'll do it one more time. All right, extend the legs back, extend the chest forward, hands on the floor, chest stays on the floor. With an inhale, lift up. If you can, you do the internal rotation with your thighs. And release. Take a few breaths. Okay, one final version, the full version of Shalabhasana. We extend the arms forward and the legs back. We're going to lift everything off the floor. Sort of a superhero version, like we're flying through space. So with an inhale, lift up everything you can off the floor. Don't hold your breath. Internal rotation on those thighs. And release. Take a couple breaths. We'll do one more time. All right, extend the arms and hands forward, legs back, and with an inhale, lift up. Keep extending the hands forward and the feet back. And release. Let's move back into downward facing hero pose for a good bit of rest. So you're on your knees are apart, your big toes touch. Sit back on your heels and then rest down. All right, come up from there and we'll do camel pose, Ustrasana. I like using it with the wall, but I'm going to do the class today without the use of the wall. So we'll be on our knees for a bit, so you want to be on some kind of comfortable surface here. The blanket for me, carpet is fine. For this, we have a nice upright posture. You can have your knees either together or a little bit apart, aligned with the hips. The hands go on the low back with the fingers pointing into the buttocks and the elbows reach toward each other. We want to extend the knees down and lift the torso up. We're going to bend the back into a back bend. We want to keep the hips directly over the knees. We don't want to lean back. That's the tendency, is to lean back. So we want to keep, as much as possible, the alignment of the hip and knee. So take this position, lengthen the torso up, inhale, and lift and extend the back. You can, again, if you have neck issues, don't let your head drop back. Just keep it lifted. But if you're okay with the neck, then you let it drop back. And then come back up. You can sit down on your heels if you like. Take a little breather. We'll do that once again. Ustrasana, camel pose. Okay, come back up onto your knees. Get the hips aligned over the knees. Torso lifts, chest open, hands on the low back, fingers pointing into the buttocks. I'm also going to show, if you wish to go into the full pose, once you're in it, you can reach down to your heels. So I'll demonstrate that as well. But first, start with the elbows reaching toward each other, extend the knees down, lift the chest up, inhale, and arch your back. And look back at the wall behind you. If you wish, you can bring your hands down to your heels. And then ease your way back up. And again, rest. All right. Next pose. Back to Setabandha Sarvangasana, back to bridge pose, only this time without support. You can have something under your head if you wish, just for comfort. But the basic idea here will be we start where we were using the block, only now no block under the sacrum. We have the feet aligned with each other and with your hips. So we want the ankles, the knees, the hips, the shoulders aligned. So you can do this, just watch for a moment, and you can do this in one of a number of variations. You can lift up and bring the shoulders in and kind of catch hold of your hips like so. This is a good supported way to do. You can also put your hands underneath the way we did just then with camel pose. Or you can have your hands interlaced like so and lift up unsupported. So any of the three that you wish to do are fine. So align your feet, knees, hips, shoulders. And then lift yourself up, lift those hips up and take whichever support position works for you. As you're here, you want to imagine that you're pressing the full length of your thighs into the ceiling. So it's really the thighs that are getting action here. You're reaching with your knees toward the wall in front of them, and you're lifting your thighs up as if you're pressing them into the ceiling. And release. Take a couple breaths, and we'll do one more time. It's bridge pose or Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. Okay, one more time, whichever version works for you. Lift up, reach away with the knees, lift up with the thighs, open the chest, take the outer shoulders down into the floor. Get a big expansive extension through the front body. And release. And just rest for several breaths. Okay, and then roll to your side, come to a seated posture. And you can just watch for a moment. We'll give a shot at Urdhva Dhanurasana, upward facing bow pose. This is a challenging pose. I do it rather poorly, but I'll demonstrate it anyway. So everyone will feel like you can do it too, because I'm not very good at it. I'm not going to use the wall. Normally I like using the wall because it gives me a little extra leverage into the pose. But for today, we'll do it like so, the regular pose, the regular version. So as you can see, the hands are on the floor, but the fingers pointing toward my feet. Then I lift up to the crown of my head, and then I lift up. Now, if you can, you go all the way to straight elbow. But that's not going to happen for me tonight. I can do that with the wall, but I'm avoiding the wall today. So you want to start with your feet, knees, hips, shoulders aligned, just as we did in the Setu Bandha pose. Then you take your hands to the floor in this odd way with the fingers pointing toward your feet. And then you press the palms down evenly as you lift your hips. I like to come to my head get some stability, and then lift up the rest of the way. So that's the idea. See what you can do. Give it a go. I'm going to take a look at how everybody's doing. It's a challenging pose for most of us. Take whatever position you can get. Save some strength so you can lower yourself down under control. And when you need to, go ahead and take a rest. And then once you've rested, then give it another try. Some people, you can't even get to the point where your head is on the floor. For some people, you can do as I did. You get the crown of your head onto the floor, maybe a little lift, maybe none of that. But just the effort of trying to keep good form while going toward the pose will develop the strength and the openness that you need for doing the pose. Again, you want to save a little strength so that you can lower yourself down under control and then just rest. All right, then you can roll to the side, come up, and we'll take a standing posture. So I'm going to stand facing to the side here so that the view is more complete. So we want to take a nice upright Tadasana, standing pose. So the feet are together, though for balance, if you're more comfortable, the feet can be a little apart. Long and wide, open soles of the feet, kneecaps firm into the thighs, thighs back, lift the front pelvic bones a bit, take the tailbone forward, the pubic bone back, lift, a little bit of lift in the front pelvic bones, little movement of the floating ribs back, skin and muscles of the buttocks down, torso lifts up, chest open. Let's start with the hands on hips and reach the elbows back. So again, a nice lifted and open chest. Keep all of that and take your hands to your sides. Bring your hands into Namaskar, your chest. And then bring the arms up overhead in Urdhva Dhanurasana. Fully extend up. So we're extending the heels down and lengthening up through the arms, hands, fingers. And then bring the hands back down, back to Tadasana. And now catch the right foot or ankle. Reach that right knee down and then back. And for balance, I find it easier if I bring my left arm up, which we'll be doing for the next pose anyway. So this is a nice way to get that full extension. And then come back to your Tadasana. Catch that left foot or ankle. Let's go ahead and bring that right arm up. Reach that left knee down and back. So you want to feel a little extension through that left front thigh, that quadricep muscle in the left leg. A little bit. And then back to Tadasana. So now we'll do Natarajasana. King of the Lord of the Dance pose. So you start with a nice upright Tadasana. Catch that foot. Extend that left arm up. And then you rotate through that left hip, keeping the front pelvic bones aligned evenly with the floor. And then come back up to your Tadasana. Catch the left foot, extend the right arm up, get that big full extension through the front body. Then you rotate through that right hip. Fully extend. And come back to Tadasana. Let's do that one more time to each side. Catch the right foot, extend the left arm up, rotate through that left hip. Natarajasana. And back to Tadasana. Second side, catch that left foot or ankle, extend up with the right arm, rotate through the right hip. And return to Tadasana. Okay, take a few breaths. Okay, so take a blanket or something that you can use with a little height. So I'm going to take my blanket and fold it like so. And I'm going to put it at the back end of my mat. You may need more height than that. I probably do as well. But we'll see how this goes. So once you've got some sort of little bit of a prop, a little bit of a height, there you stand in Tadasana with your heels just touching it. Take the left foot up onto that height, the heel only, turning the left foot out just a little bit, and then a big step forward with the right foot. Hands on hips, square up the hips and shoulders facing forward. And then bend that right knee to 90 degrees. As you may see, my left heel is coming up. That's okay. But I want to keep the left leg straight, and I want to keep extending that left heel back. And then sweep the arms up into warrior one. Virabhadrasana one. Internal rotation on that left thigh. And then come up, turn your feet, step the feet together, and come back to Tadasana. Right heel up, big step with the left foot. Square up the hips and shoulders, facing forward. Bend that left knee to 90 degrees or thereabouts, even if the heel comes up. And then sweep the arms up into warrior one. And come up, turn your feet. And we'll go one more time to each side. Left heel up, big step with the right foot, square up the hips and shoulders, bend the right knee, sweep the arms up. And inhale, come up, turn, come back, reset. Then we go to the second side. Right heel up on the prop. Big step with the left foot. Square up the hips and shoulders. Bend that left knee. Sweep the arms up. Internal rotation on that right thigh. And come up, turn, move your prop out of the way. Well, you can leave it there if you want. And take downward facing dog, Urdhva Dhanurasana. Just to kind of get out of that back bend, give a little relief to the low back. And then downward facing hero pose, Adho Mukha Virasana. Knees down, knees apart, big toes touch, sit back on your heels, and rest down into downward facing hero. All right, come up. And now we'll set ourselves up for Shavasana. So there are a few ways that are nice to do Shavasana when you've done a back bending class. I like using a chair. So if you wish, I'm going to show this. The way it would look is something comfortable on the chair, either a second sticky mat or a blanket. You'll want something under your head, again, really for comfort and also to lift the forehead a little bit. So this is one of my favorite Shavasana, versions of Shavasana when I've done back bends. I have a bolster handy as well. So it looks like this. So this is very comforting for the low back, especially then if you put a little weight on your abdomen. As we did in a previous class, we also put like some weight on here. So that pushes your low back into the floor. It's very nice. So this is an excellent Shavasana for the low back. I'm going to show version without the chair. But I would put a bolster then under my knees. This allows me to soften in the lower abdomen and then taking that softness into the low back. So you can choose whichever version of Shavasana you wish, or you may just want to stretch out in your normal Shavasana. Totally fine. So find whichever position you want, and then go ahead and settle down into it. Again, have some height under your head so that your forehead is lifted to or above the height of your chin. That forms a little bit of a passive Jalandhara Bandha, the energy lock in the throat. So then you want to, as you rest down into this pose, lift the inner edge of the shoulder blades and take the outer deltoids into the floor, and then just let go of that. So there's no effort here, but we still have an openness in the torso. All of that effort of lifting and opening the torso and the back bends, it's still there, but it's passively there now. So you can just reside, release, relax into that open chest that we found through all of those back bend poses. So then as your breath quiets, just let your body release into the pull of gravity. Let your abdomen soften. Let your low back soften. Let your chest soften. Let your middle and upper back soften. Release the shoulders, the arms, the hands, the fingers. Let the weight of your head release and soften the neck. Soften the throat. Quiet the space of the voice box. Soften your jaw. Soften at the corners of your mouth and release the tongue. Soften at the corners of your eyes. Let the eyes themselves settle down into the sockets. Locate the space you think of as the inner ear. Soften that space. Quiet the inner ear. Release any tension across your forehead, through the skin and muscles of the face and scalp. Once again, letting the weight of your head release into the floor. Complete softness in the neck, the shoulders, and the torso, the arms and the hands. Let everything go into the floor. Just follow your breath into a quiet, still place. All right, so then take a few slightly deeper breaths and bring awareness back into fingers and toes. Keep your eyes open. Bring your hands to your torso or abdomen. Bend your knees and gently roll to your side. Stay here for a few more breaths. When you come up, keep your neck soft, bring the crown of your head up last. So you use some arm strength and push into a seated posture. All right. Thank you all for coming. And namaste.
Stay.
Namaste.
Namaste.
All right. Good night,
Good
everyone.
night.
Hey.
Good night.